Hello and welcome to another Ultra Game Template tutorial. And this is not a tutorial per se. I just want to show you something that is very important. And if you have been following the documentation of the tutorials, right now you should be super aware of something, and it's the importance of the default game data asset. This class is super important, and this actually takes is a list of very useful things you need for your game, and I'm just going to one by one make a little comment on one of those things. Okay, if you hover in each of the game properties, there is a little tooltip. Okay, so don't worry, I'm not going to enter in detail, but as you can see, this is something that very useful tooltip. Okay, so the game name is very obvious. Never put the spaces here, of course. So let's say my game. Okay. The UI menu style, it's the data asset that holds your style. As you can see, if I change this to minimalistic, let's go to the main menu to see this change. Let's open the level and maps, UGT main menu. Okay. And as you can see, now it's minimalistic, the menu. And if I go here, and instead of minimalistic, I just brush. Now I have a brush. And if I have a typewriter, I have typewriter. You can, of course, this is another data asset. Okay. So you could actually duplicate any one of those styles and make your own. And then there you can select your new style, or you can make one of your own from scratch. Anyway. IsDemo, it's a very useful tool, because if you check IsDemo in the main menu, it will appear a wishlist. Okay, wishlist now button, and you can configure this in the demo section or the game section. A little bit under here. Okay, demo chapters in order. Menu, demo call to wishlist here. Okay, here you can configure where do you want that logo. Okay. That wishlist button to take you. Of course, that button only appears in the correct platforms. I mean, PC, Linux, Steam Decks, and not the consoles. So here you set out the inputs. We just showed that in the previous tutorials. Player tag and player capsule tag, these are very important, because these are the tags that your player and your player capsule UGT will actually give them. And these are important just for classes like we have shown before, like classes like the UGT trigger or the UGT in-game button. Those classes actually look for the tag to see if the actor who actually enters is the player, and if the capsule is the element who touched it. And now we enter to very funny territory. So for example, now here we have the global console commands to always apply. These are commands that no matter where in your game, these are always going to be applied. Console commands. By default, these two commands, the only thing that do is activate post-process ambient occlusion working with Lumen. Okay, otherwise you won't get post-process ambient occlusion with Lumen. And here, this is very interesting. We have here you can set a list of commands in here. Okay, that are going to be specific for those consoles. This is not the way to do console porting, by the way. This is just a list of commands that you want on those consoles. There is an easier way to make portings that we're going to see in a couple of video tutorials down the line, okay? In the testing section, this is very interesting. We have the development build. We have already seen that. This is useful to test the localization system. This is useful to see the outlines of triggers in game, etc., etc. Okay. We have the test checkpoints, and this one is actually super easy to understand too. If I go to the level 1 of the levels that are in the game, okay, so I'm going to set this to current camera location, and I'm going to start playing from here, okay? And as you can see, I start playing from here, and if I start, where am I? And now I can start playing from here or whatever. This is usual behavior of Unreal Engine, okay? But because our game has checkpoints and we have a class to write progression to the player, if I touch a checkpoint, like for example now, okay, now you see the little loading icon there. Here again, I'm going to reach the checkpoint save, and I have the saving icon down on the right. So even if I do that, I can still play from here. On the other hand, if in the data asset here I check test checkpoint, I'm just going to do it like this, it's going to be easier. Now, even if I'm playing from there, I'm spawning in the correct checkpoint because that is the checkpoint that my progression has been saved. Okay, so if you don't want to spawn in the checkpoint, just test checkpoint false, and now you can spam wherever you want. Okay, so next one is actually super easy. Test platform. Here you can choose what platform are you testing, even if you are in PC, even in your personal computer, even if you are in development build. This is super useful. For example, I want to try how the game and the inputs and everything looks like on Nintendo Switch. And I come here and take a look at the menus. Now they are gigantic, okay? They are super big. And if I go to settings, now I don't have keyboard and mouse controls. I go to controls. Okay, and now the correct switch buttons are shown. Even if I choose, instead of this style, let's choose the brush style, okay? And in this style, the controls are shown with images and it shows the correct images for Nintendo Switch, okay? So that is absolutely fantastic because you can try and any platform, anywhere you want from your personal computer. Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced. Now we enter in localization territory and we have two tables, one for text localization and another one for audio localization. The one from with text localization, okay, it's actually super easy. It's a localization with many rows and many languages, okay, and these are the names of all languages in all the other languages. But as you can see, the game is really only localized in Spanish and English, okay? You'll see how to use the localization system, but it's actually super simple. You only have to say if your game is localized in certain language, then UGT will auto detect that and just localize this here using Google Spreadsheets. Again, this is something we're going to cover in the documentation and in a tutorial down the line. Same thing, but with audio. In this case, in this audio, we have a couple of audios. And as you can see, we have the same audio localized in English and in Spanish, okay? And here we choose how, what language are the audios localized. And again, we will learn how to use this system down the line, don't worry. This is a very interesting one because we can have multiple forms of progression in our game. So for example, here we have new game progression system. We have multiple save slot system. This is exactly what we have been using. So if I go to the main menu, right? I go to settings, if I go to play, I have one slot with one progression. I can click a new game. Okay, now I have 2 slots, 3 slots, and now I have 3 slots, 0, 0. Okay, let me just very easily change this one to minimalistic, so we see what is going on actually. So we say fly and we have all the slots here, or you can see, hey, look, I don't want a slot save system. So you go here and it's super easy. You say single slot save system and now things change. You only have one slot. This button should not appear. This is a bug, don't worry, it will be fixed. But if I delete the save game as usual, it should disappear. Let me see here, save games. Let's quit that. And now let's play. And as you can see, now things are looking fine. I have a start new game and I have these dev options. Okay, these options appear because I am in development mode. Let me go again and development build say false. And again, I have the continue button. I have new game to override, or I can go to chapters or whatever, but only using a single slot. I don't have multiple slots. Or I can also have no progression saved or slots. Let me delete the game just in case again. And this one is self-explanatory. It's like, hey, I don't want any slots. Play, and you start playing the game. Really that simple. Of course, you can also disable the shaders, what we've seen previously, but anyway, here is the way that you do a single slot save system, or single game or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The new game label is the label that your new game is going to point. New game first checkpoint name. This actually is a fake name. So if you put something, let me put here like a slot progression system. Okay, so now what I'm getting now is start new game. Okay, for multiple slot system. And now when I say play, okay, the name of the checkpoint is dash, 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 dash. This is something you can toggle if you want to show checkpoints on your save or not down the line, okay? Chapters in orders. These are the names of the chapters of your game. Fantastic. This is not difficult. And here is a little image because you can make a little name and a little tooltip description of your chapter. So what does it mean? Let me search for chapter because I think chapters have tooltips. It's true. Let me set this again to true. And now if I say play and I go here and I say chapters, as you can see, my chapters have an image and a little tooltip that, of course, I should be able to localize. Auto exposure is fucking with my project and I don't really like that. So let's go to edit project settings and let's search here for auto exposure and just let me delete it because it's making things unclear to read. Much better now. Okay, so this is about the chapters. And again, we have a little configuration of maximum number of save slots. And for example, maybe here you can have 10 slots. I think you can even have 100. And if I continue making new games, as you can see, I'm making new slots. Okay, and I just will never stop. Okay, I can exit and play, and I can define a maximum number of slots. What else? Well, then we have the menu configuration. We can configure the menu welcome screen. Okay, this is something that we know how to quit. Essentially, it's a link and just some text for some button if you are in the left, on the right. Same thing when you click new game. We can also have here a game welcome screen. For example, in the menu welcome screen, you will say something like, hey, this game is in early access, sorry for the books, blah, 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 blah. And in the new game welcome screen, you will say something like, hey, this game has jump scares, this is going to be very scary, accept and continue, or something like that. Again, you have already learned how to disable them, so I won't go into many detail. Display user game version, this is the game version that is going to be displayed on your game. So if I play, and as you can see here, you have the version with the name of your game, the version, and the Unreal Engine version, it is done. Okay. And if we continue going down, you can also have some extra text, so whatever. And now I have my extra text here. Okay, and then we have the demo call to wishlist URL. We have previously seen that. Then we have social links. Social links ask you for an image and a link. And in this case, well, we have my Twitter. We click here and you go to my Twitter. And of course, this only appears on computer platforms and whatsoever. And then we have the social link tops text, which is followers for news. This is something you can put here for your social links, or you can leave it blank, whatever. And you can even choose to show the social links on the pause menu. You can localize or not this text. And you can show the game version in the main menu or in the game. You can check if the chapters have tooltips. So if you remember, the chapters have images. If I uncheck this, and I go play, here and I go to chapters. Now my chapters doesn't show anything on the right. Okay, that's another thing very important. So now we enter cheats territory, and this is the cheat code that you should do to input cheats. So cheats are actually amazing. So if I click cheats in the keyboard, now the cheats have been activated and the menu has done something. And with the cheats enabled, I can do depth stuff like testing a platform, even in a package build. I can apply the platform. I can choose to unlocal chapters or configure the save slot or whatever. So it is actually awesome stuff. And the cheats menu also works in game. So if I'm playing in game and I say cheats and I hold the pause button, now we enter this amazing cheats menu that we will have a tutorial just for that in the future. So if we continue scrolling down, we have done this, we have done cheat for keyboard and gamepad, the cheat code, okay. Now we have the credits level, and then it's like what is the level holding your credits. Here you can decide the time of each and every one of your credits. If you leave after credits level blank, it will just go to the main menu, okay. And your credit widgets, we'll have a tutorial on how to set up the credits, okay. And we also have the intro credits, and this is something amazing. So for example, in the intro slides, the slides, there are widgets too. And in the slides, we can choose where to put those slides. So for example, the slide porting is only going to be shown in the consoles because the company that did the porting did nothing for, I don't know, to the other platforms, right? So this is a way to configure your intro credits per platform. So for example, right now, I'm going to test PC, okay? And if I go to the launcher map, okay, you see this development, publishing, and special songs, and Unreal Engine, okay? But if I test PS4, now we'll see Unreal Engine, development, publishing, special songs, and that's it, because I need to check development build to test it here, because otherwise in the launcher, the platform is going to be changed. So I'm going to say PS4, again, development, console porting by, publishing, and special songs, okay? Very important if you want to try this to check development build. Okay, we are going to continue. Okay, these are the slides. We can give a duration to each and every slide, and we can localize the levels of the slides. It's very easy. Then we have shader compilation. This is the shader compilation that you've seen. Essentially what it does is it compiles the shaders of every level. There are more info about it in the documentation. And here you can actually say how much time the shaders are going to take in each level, and you can define some images that are going to be shown at random while the shaders are compiling. Useful so that there's something for the player to see, and that's it. And here you can configure something, for example, additional shader compilation maps. This is important because maybe aside from the chapters, you want to compile the chapters defined here in the chapters, okay, are going to get compiled by the shaders, those chapters, these maps here. But aside from that, maybe you want more levels to be compiled by the shaders. And these levels are going to be levels like, I don't know, maybe a zoo without all the Niagara particles or effects of your game, etc., right? So you can define this here. You can force no shader compilation on PC, and you can choose to do shader compilation on new game or with the first game, the first time the game is launched. We can configure a little things about the loading screen. So this is the base platform loading screen time. This is how much time we keep loading after the level is loaded to give a little bit of margin to the shaders and the popping to occur. And here you can say additional loading time that it takes for each platform. Obviously, the platforms like Nintendo Switch, or mobile, which are the lowest end platforms, should take more time to load these additional shaders, models, or materials. You can also define tips if you want, and here in the loading screen, and here we enter the toggle territory, which is amazing. Here are plenty of functionality of UGT that you can actually disable by default, okay, in your game. So for example, you don't want the cheat system, or you don't want the intro slides, you don't even want the credits, you don't want the user to be able to configure certain, you don't even want keyboard remapping, don't worry, you don't want whatever, you don't want DLSS or FSR or whatever. There are lots of toggles. All are disabled by default, so you get all the features by default, okay? But for every game you make, you should come here and say, okay, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. And this is a very awesome way to do it, okay? And that's it. That's the breakdown of the default game data asset. And hope you like it, and see you in the next tutorial.